Hello everyone and welcome back to the Purveyor in Fallout 76. We're going to redeem another 1000 Scrip on 3-star legendary ranged weapons, see if we can get lucky, and talk about what makes the good ones good and the bad ones bad. I'll also talk a little bit about how some of these might be impacted by upcoming changes and new content. Remember, if you like these videos and you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that button. I upload a variety of Fallout 76 content every week on the channel, and I hope you'll keep coming back. Okay, enough of that. Let's see what Mama Mumbles has for us today. Okay, let's take a look at our first roll. It's a Medic's Plasma Pistol with VATS hit chance and faster movement speed while aiming. I don't love the Medic stuff because there aren't a lot of rolls for support builds to really play right now, but in the future with daily ops, that could change. You're going to start hitting things more, so something like this with more VATS hits will give you more VATS crits and therefore more group healing. So this one, while not super useful today, might become a little more desirable a little bit further down the road. We'll see. And now we have a Troubleshooters Fixer. Alright, with bashing damage and 250 damage resistance while reloading. Now, normally I would look at this and say, not a great roll, bashing damage isn't very useful, damage against robots is too situational, damage resistance while reloading, yeah, that's nice and all, but it's a third effect. My tune has changed a little bit. I really wanted something like this, because in the daily ops that are coming up, and I'm going to put a link to my video on them here in the top right, so you can click on that if you want to, and at the end of the video. In these ops, we're going to have enemies with different mutations and set types of enemies that are really tough. So a Troubleshooter's Fixer could be really useful for the ones where we go up against robots. They also have another one where they have a mutation called Resilient, where they can only be killed with a melee attack, bashing damage included. Sometimes these things are really tough, and even if you have them down to a sliver of health, you might need to bash them a couple of times. So a little extra bashing damage isn't the worst thing in the world to have, and because we don't have sneak in those ops, we're shooting a lot more, we're reloading a lot more often, so that damage resistance while reloading could actually be a really useful combination. We'll have to see. Okay, here we go. A Ghoulslayer's Harpoon Gun with VATS hit chance and 50 damage resistance while aiming. So, yeah, here, this one, I don't really foresee any scenario where this becomes a desirable weapon. VATS hit chance is nice. It is definitely something where you'd like to kill things in one shot, but Ghoulslayers is probably not an ideal use case for a Harpoon Gun. They simply fire too slow. Ghouls tend to attract each other in big groups, so not a great crowd control weapon, not a great roll, basically destined for the Scrip bin once again. Okay, and now we have a Berserker's Assault Rifle with bashing damage and perception. So, Berserkers. As of now, no changes coming to that effect. The more damage resistance you have, the lower your damage goes with the weapon, and the less of it you have, you get up to a 50% buff. If you're someone who really just wants to avoid hassling with armor, then maybe a Berserker's build is for you, and if so, this isn't a bad weapon. But you're probably not like that. Very few people are. So unfortunately, it's just not very desirable. At 9.2 pounds, pretty safe bet that this one's going to go straight back to the Scrip bin. So we can re-roll it at the big sale coming up and see if we can get something a little better. All right, what do we have next? An instigating submachine gun with VATS critical shots doing more damage and 15% faster reload. So this is a pretty good set of effects on a not amazing weapon. Now, if you're going for kind of a thematic build where you're a gangster or something, then your submachine gun is your go-to weapon, and this is probably a pretty good one to roll. Instigating is good. We're going to get double damage if our target is full health, so for solo farming, that's good. That's criticals doing more damage is always helpful, and faster reload is good too. But where this weapon suffers a little bit is in its range. It just doesn't have a very long range. It's not super accurate, so you're not going to get a ton of usefulness out of it, but it's not bad. Could be a fun time. And a Ghoulslayer's hunting rifle with exploding bullets and damage resistance while reloading. So here we have two really good secondary effects with a not really good primary effect. Primary effect of Ghoulslayers, it's just too situational. Again, hunting rifles, kind of like the Harpoon Gun, not a great crowd control weapon, but overall, not the worst thing in the world. The second and third effects are useful. Typically, if you're someone who's going to use a hunting rifle, you're probably somewhere around level 50 or 60. You might not have the greatest stuff in the world, so even though Ghoulslayers isn't an amazing thing to get, it's better than nothing, and you've got explosive bullets and extra protection when you reload, which is important on a hunting rifle. So, you know, if you don't have a really good legendary hunting rifle or good legendary better sniper rifle, then you could do a lot worse than this. It's not amazing, but it could be a lot of fun for the right player, at least for a little while. All right, we've got a few more to go here. A Berserker's single action revolver with VATS critical doing more damage and faster reload. Well, faster reload is good on a single action revolver because the reload is brutally slow on this weapon. So slow that honestly you could probably triple the reload speed and it would still be basically useless. So unfortunately, it doesn't really matter what the rolls are on this gun. You're not going to use it. You might use a Western revolver, you might use a 44. You're not using this. You just aren't. So it could be the most amazing rolls in the world and you just won't use it. So let's move on. Okay, well, we got one good weapon out of her today, so maybe we can't ask for more than that. We have a Stalker's Harpoon Gun with more VATS critical damage and damage resistance while reloading. So, in other Scrip videos, I have lamented how terrible Stalker's is as an effect, and I will proceed to do that again here. It just isn't good. The effect, the way it works, is if you're not in combat, you get 100% VATS accuracy at a 50% AP cost. Unfortunately, 100% VATS accuracy does not exist in Fallout 76. It simply doesn't. Shots miss for no apparent reason. There are other times where the shot will hit and your damage simply won't count. So unfortunately, VATS, as much as I enjoy it in Fallout 76, is not useful enough. It is not reliable enough to make a primary legendary effect out of. VATS critical shots doing more damage is nice. Damage resistance while reloading is very useful on a gun like this. So if you just really, really want to use a Harpoon Gun, you could do worse, but definitely going back to Scrip. And let's see about this one here is an anti-armor pipe bolt action pistol with limb damage and 250 damage resistance while reloading. I'm noticing a theme here. We're getting that on a lot of weapons on this trip through. So this one, I got excited for a minute there because I thought it was a regular pipe pistol. And anti-armor would have been really good on that because it's a low damage weapon. But unfortunately it wasn't. It's a slow firing pipe bolt action pistol. With that said, anti-armor, if everything stays consistent with what we're seeing on the PTS right now, the way they're kind of changing the damage curve, anti-armor is going to become more desirable than it once was because it's not affected by that reduction in damage. This is still probably not going to be a very good weapon, but other anti-armor weapons might, so hang on to them. Exterminators 10mm with limb damage and 90% reduced weight. Well, as I often say, 90% reduced weight is the best thing about this weapon. Exterminators is a very situational effect. It's just not very useful. There aren't that many scenarios where you're fighting Mirelurks and bugs in large numbers, so I just don't see that being useful, unlike maybe mutant slayers or troubleshooters, which you're going to have these daily ops for, where you know that every day you're going to be using that effect. With exterminators, you just aren't. And limb damage, it's fine, but Reduced weight, well, that's great because it'll weigh nothing and I can keep it in reserve as 40 Scrip. But other than that, there really isn't much redeemable about this weapon. Maybe if you're a full health pistol build, it would be useful just to have a collection of them, but I just don't see it. And with that, folks, that's going to end it for today. I'm going to go ahead and turn some of this stuff back in so I can replenish all my Scrip in time for the big 50% off Purveyor sale coming up on September 10th. So that is coming, so don't burn through all your Scrip. Make sure you save some of that up. And as always, if you liked this video, if you had a good time with it, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and come back for more. I've always got new Fallout 76 content going up throughout the week, every week, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, I'm Fisty McRib.